So the FRC earnings just came out, and since they declined to answer any questions on their earnings or even do a presentation, I thought I would do my own presentation. So here is shareholder capital, and this is Jerome Powell right there below. And essentially what happened, well, it was... Okay, that was too close for comfort. But Chad, in all seriousness, today is April 24th. We had the FRC earnings. We've been waiting for this event for weeks. We got to talk about the banks. I'm even wearing my regional banking outfit. I feel like this is what I would wear if I was like managing a regional bank. I don't know, just less risk management, but FRC reported. I have 5 big things that happened here on the earnings, and that little joke there in the beginning, it's true. The CEO declined to answer any questions, and they did not even do a presentation. They did not say, hey, here's our quarter, this is what we plan. They literally just released their numbers. They gave a lot of numbers, a little bit of writing on it. Then the CEO made a couple of statements that was based off of it and didn't answer questions, and then they moved on. So pretty big considering this is one of the most anticipated earnings. Again, we have been trying to follow along with all of this since it's been happening. In FRC, this was the regional bank that was down the most. So it was pricing in about 27% for earnings. It's moved now about that same amount. The only thing was it gapped up 10% in the morning today, but all that being said, it's going to be interesting tomorrow. I have an additional conclusion that we need to talk about with the banking situation. I don't know if you've seen the regionals, but even though the big banks are the ones who kind of got the all clear, a lot of the regionals have still been pretty much washed. And now after this FRC earnings, we may see a new fear emerge, or at least we have something to follow along. So let's talk about it. The 5 things that came about this earnings. I almost lit that money on fire. I hope you liked the video too, and I hope I see you on stream tomorrow. YouTube.com/the stock market. This is what I wear when I stream. So like you could trust me, you know, like I'm a regional bank. Anyway, okay, anyways, bad jokes. Number 1. The first thing that they said, FRC, they said that they are pursuing strategic options, and that includes cutting expenses as well as announcing that they are going to be reducing 25% of their staff by next quarter. So we talked about this earlier today. Strategic options could also include having the company being sold. And if you remember, they talked about this in the beginning when all of this situation first happened. They said they needed assistance, but they said they couldn't do it without government backing. That was one of those strategic options. Essentially, they have a lot of liabilities. They're held to maturity securities as well. They're set up, I mean, pretty much nobody could buy them without wiping away debt. They wanted the government to absorb it, kind of like what happened with the Credit Suisse deal. If you ever hear about those AT1 bonds, the government wiped out and cleaned out $16 billion. That's how they allowed the deal to go through at a lower price. So they're saying they're exploring strategic options. And we'll find out if they could work around their debt and liabilities. But in the meantime, they said that they're cutting staff by 25% next quarter. That was the first big takeaway. And we even saw the stock move after hours when that came out. The second thing now, maybe arguably the number one important thing, it was the deposits. So the outflows stabilized in March. Even after hours, I was saying this, it wasn't too bad if you look at pretty much like end of March till now, or even a couple weeks ago. The deposits didn't move. They've only moved like 1%. However, if you look at the quarter, it was a total deposit drop of $72 billion. So that is very severe quarter over quarter. Pretty much now they are standing at $104.5 billion in total deposits. That means they were at like 179, a little, or 176 just about 3 months ago, or before all of this stuff started happening. But now here's the caveat. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, Chad. This is where we could use the community and work together. You let me know, but I am 90% certain that amount, the total deposits of $104 billion, I believe that is including the $30 billion that came from the other banks. Remember, we've made a lot of videos on this. We've been talking about this. Just remember how we got here in this story and situation. Don't forget, FRC got all that money from, remember I was using the money to show you, and I said the deposits left and then the big banks. Well, yeah, part of that deposits that's down, that 70% or whatever, or 50% year over year, or even from the quarter, that's including that money. So that was a big update. Some people are looking at it in many ways. One, total deposits are down. Also have to factor in the tax season, but then they've stabilized since the worst has gotten worse in March. So that's number two. Number three now, and this is where it gets important. And remember what I just told you, the number 104.5. That is their total deposits right now. But as of now, what we learned from this earnings is that their bank funding base will weigh down on revenue and profitability. And pretty much what this means is that they are not going to be making as much money. And if they have deposits, this is what they make money on. If their deposits are going to be lowered, they are not expecting to make that much money on it, which is going to keep them in a tough position. But this is where it gets better, though. This is the main reason why that funding base will even go down even more. It is because they are borrowing from the Fed home loan and bank system. They are currently borrowing money at the amount of $105.9 billion. So here's the problem. That money that they're borrowing from the Fed home bank loan facility, it is bigger. It costs more money than what they would make on their deposits. And now, because that borrowing amount is literally bigger than their deposits. So now we learn they have $105 billion outstanding. It's around like 4% interest. They have to pay interest on that money that they're getting even as the government backstop. But the problem is they now have more in those Fed loans than they do in deposits, which are at 104 billion, 104.5. The Fed facility is 105.9. So that now in the long term, until that gets back in balance, or if that gets worse, showing that they're kind of going to be, that they're getting clapped a little bit. So that was a big update. And now another thing, they said they plan to like overhaul the balance sheet, and they said that they're going to try to make it where they are pretty much having a majority of accounts being insured rather than uninsured. They want to try to move accounts around, and they don't want to carry a large amount of uninsured depositors. That's a big thing they said they're focusing on. And then they also said that they want to focus on moderating loan volumes and originating loans that they could sell on the secondary market. This one's interesting. They're pretty much saying they're going to keep engaging in business and loans, but now it's pretty much going to be on broader underwriting standards, not their own standards, because they're going to try to get commissions, but then sell the loans and try to pretty much flip money overnight to generate income. But these are all of the updates. And then, like I told you, the final part, that was the big joke that we were saying there. The executives did not take any questions on this call. They didn't do an earnings presentation. And this right now, it's the joke in the beginning, but I think this is what's going to kill the stock tomorrow. So I'm still holding my 100 shares. I didn't think it was that bad. Again, after the conference call and everything, I think it's pretty awful. I'm still down to hold it. I think we're going to get a lot of volatility. I mean, and we've already seen a S show throughout all of this. So again, keeping the risk small, I'm deciding to hold, but like we saw, I believe it was with Western Alliance, the CEO, remember they didn't give an update on deposits, and then the market sold off the stock 30-40%, and then the CEO came out and said, okay, here you go. We'll give it to you. I'm kind of feeling the same way about this. The fact the CEO is not answering questions, didn't make a presentation. Again, this guy's doing it for free too. Remember, he announced earlier he's not going to take any pay. This was a part of all of the crazy announcements with FRC when this first started. But the point is, I think the fact that he didn't take those questions, we might see a market reaction tomorrow. Maybe people find a way to be okay with it. Again, that was one of the fun facts so far this earnings season, is that the companies that have missed earnings have actually went down less than their historical average, while the companies who have beat, they've gone up a little bit more. But we'll see how investors take it. But CEO not answering questions, it is not that good. So that's pretty much all of it. If I could give you one conclusion with how this plays out for the banks. I know we've been following along and talking about it a lot, but the one conclusion I'm taking out from it is that we may have found now the flaw in the bank term funding facility, or whether it's the Fed, the Fed home bank loans, or the bank term funding. We talked about this earlier. We said that it costs money. They have to pay money and interest, and everybody was worried about this in the beginning, but now it kind of brings those worries to the forefront. But this is what I will say. Pretty much the way I got, like what I got out of the FRC earnings, it's stable in the short term, but now the midterm, the long term, I mean, there's a lot of questions, and with everything else going on, it's hard to say. And like you even seen, this is what the Fed was talking about. They mentioned it even there, even in the interview we were talking about with Hugh Hendry, as the banks go to defend themselves. I mean, they even announced it. They're going to change how they give loans, and they want to even try to moderate loans and all of that stuff. So there's some effects from it. We see the effects with the Fed. We'll watch what it does in the mid to long term. I think that's where the uncertainty is. For now, it's a little bit stable. And then that brings us to the rest of the week. It's going to be all about the earnings now. So we're going to see, but that's it for FRC. Again, tomorrow, it's going to be Microsoft and Alphabet. There's even a few others, even in the morning, GE, McDonald's, UPS. I'm telling you, like, the list is actually insane for the morning. So we're going to get a lot to react to. There's going to be a lot of industries. We'll see if people respond to the lack of the CEO showing up with FRC. You are going to get data. There was another surprise set of data today that came in well below expectations. This is actually, even, you can see it here, 12 months in a row of declining. This was the Richmond Fed manufacturing. Again, another largely contractionary set of data. Not as big as the Philly Fed, but this whole theme and even decent reactions to the data has been persisting. But it's going to be all about earnings from here on out. Going to be watching for the big ones tomorrow. And then again, even in the Wednesday, there's going to be a lot more. And hopefully the market moves. But after this week, after the big dogs, I'm pretty sure the bonds and getting ready for Powell, we're going to finalize our move, and then we'll see how it all ties in. But even with the banking system, and as long as the earnings aren't awful, we may have bought time, and Powell may play that buy the time card. So we'll see how the market takes it. But Chad, I will see you there in the morning. That is your watch list. Make sure you're hydrated, healthy, ready to go. Make sure to post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to remember, baby, at the bottom, right when you feel like it's time to go back, that's usually where you get your biggest blessing. So I don't even know. I was on that mood today. It was good. I'm not even, some of y'all are doing good. Some of y'all are even at top. Some of y'all, and that's why you got to watch out for the pride too. So you got to be careful of that, man. So all in all, man, just bring some good vibes. I hope you enjoy life. Make the most of it. The market, man, earnings season is a blast. But Chad, we are almost halfway done with this year. So you're already doing good. Oh, we added MPW to the long term. I sold out a little bit of Bill, and then I bought into MPW. I only sold out a little bit of Bill because that's where all my money was. It's not because I don't like William anymore. It's because I wanted to put the money there. So yeah, we averaged down on MPW. They have earnings this week too. We're going to have to talk about that. Okay, I love you, Chad. I'm leaving. That wasn't awkward. That ended informationally. Okay, I'll see you in the morning.